Hi everyone, welcome to this week's Halton Hills Housing Update. So we're going to jump right into what happened the first week of January, looking at sales this week. So Georgetown had 8 sales, which is a nice indicator for the market. 8 is not super high, but it's very on par with like a normal-ish week, and it's definitely up from the slow weeks we saw through December. So 8 sales, pretty good start to the new year, I would say. There was only 8 new listings, so that means things were on par in terms of sales and new listings, so we're not going to see a spike in inventory, and actually a bunch of stuff still came off the market this week, so yeah, inventory is going to be down. So the same story we've been saying for the last few months. So in Acton this week, we had no sales, but 2 new listings, so some inventory coming back onto the market in Acton. And then Glen Williams, Limehouse, and the rural market saw no sales and no new listings. And so when we look at the numbers that we're tracking of things that are changing their price and coming off the market, last week there was 10 properties that came up when I looked at the expireds and terminated. Of those 10, 2 of them came back on the market at a lower price. 8 of them exited the market. So this is the trend I was not expecting to continue to see into the new year. If we keep seeing properties exiting the market, we are literally going to be in like an inventory crisis again, because our sales are matching our listings, and then if things are just coming off, like inventory just keeps dropping. So I'm very invested in like what is going to happen with inventory here, because if we start to see sales really pick up, like it's going to flip again, and supply and demand, there is not going to be enough supply, and demand always picks up in the new year. So we could be in for a busy market. There's a lot of good houses on the market that could be a deal right now. And like I said last week, this could be your last opportunity to actually get a deal this year, because if the numbers trend the way they're trending right now, we are going to be in a busy market, busy for like sales, that is. So if we don't have enough listings, the prices are going to go up. This is going to be interesting to see how this all pans out. So far, we have not seen a flood of properties re-entering the market that came off, and we're seeing properties still exiting the market because they're not getting the results they want. So just watching this really closely. So now looking at active inventory, all of Halton Hills is down from 112 to 109 active listings this week. So we are getting very close to that 100 mark. Couple more weeks of properties exiting the market, and we are going to be in a very low inventory situation. Looking at Georgetown, we are down from 60 to 56 active listings. Last year, our lowest inventory was in May at 53. So we are not far off May of 2023. And that was the month that we saw our highest average price last year. And it was also the month that was closest comparable to 2022. So it's going to be, again, just fascinating how this is all going to pan out, because we really need to start to see those inventory numbers come up. Otherwise, it's just going to be scarce inventory, and it will change the market. So looking at our price points, under 800,000 is up slightly from 11 to 12 active listings. Only one of those is freehold. The rest of them are condo, townhouses, and apartments. Those are moving, but some of them are still priced frankly too high. But like anything, if that starts to get eaten up and there's not a lot of them available, their prices are going to go up. But I still think we have a while until we see those condo townhouses back into the 800s. I think we're a long way from that still, because there's just a lot of them, and frankly they were overpriced anyways. But that's sort of what's happening there. 800 to $1 million is down from 16 to 13 active listings. There's not a lot of stuff available in our busiest price point. There is quite a few Del Rex area bungalows that are available in this pocket, and there's some nice products. And so I think that those are the kinds of things that once that kind of product starts to increase in price, it trickles into everything else. So right now, to only have 13 listings available between 800 and $1 million is not a very high number, and I suspect that's going to cause at some point the market to get busier if that doesn't increase. 1 to 1.5 million is down slightly from 21 to 19 active listings. This price point only really gets busy when the one underneath it starts to get busy. So we're still sitting with relatively high inventory there in terms of like, there's just a lot of stuff available that isn't moving. Even though 19 is nowhere near the almost 60 that we had, it's still, that price point just isn't moving that rapidly. And then the stale price point is 1.5 million plus. It stayed the same this week at 12 active listings, but virtually no sales over 1.5 million happening. It is very difficult to find a buyer with a budget over $1.5 million right now. Anyone that has a home listed in that budget can tell you it is very quiet. But yeah, it will be a long time before I think that price point starts to pick up again. In Acton this week, we went up from 18 to 20 active listings. Glen Williams is down from 7 to 6 due to a termination. Limehouse remained the same at 0 listings there, and the rural market also remained the same at 27 active listings. The rural market starts at $1.4 million. So that just shows why a lot of stuff is not moving in the rural market, because like I just talked about, that higher price point buyer is very hard to come by right now. It's very expensive to get a mortgage. That's the reality, is the cost of borrowing is extremely high. So the people have to have a ton of equity, otherwise they're taking on huge mortgages, and the payments are crazy compared to where we came from. So it's no surprise to see those higher ticket things not moving as rapidly as they were. So that is sort of the snapshot of what happened for our first week in January. I would say some positives is that we saw sales at a pretty decent level in Georgetown at 8. Like that's a fine week in Georgetown. It's not screaming like the buyers are not active. So that's a plus. The negative is that we're still seeing our inventory drop because people are exiting the market, and we're not seeing them re-enter at a alarming pace. Let's just say that. So this market could flip. This very well in the coming weeks could turn in favor of the sellers again. I still think there's a lot of buyer hesitation. Like I talked about, the cost of borrowing is very high. It will be interesting at January 24th, I think it is when Bank of Canada makes their next interest rate announcement. I definitely don't think it's going up. People are predicting that we're going to see interest rates go down. I had a client this week that told they're closing at the end of January, and their rate has gone down almost a full %. They bought in November and their rate just keeps coming down. So they're getting a fixed 5.49, which is something we haven't seen in a really long time. So as rates start to soften, again, that's another, it gives people more buying power, which is what costs, like the price of housing is going to go up if we don't have a saturation of inventory. So lots of things to watch here, sort of rambling about where it could go, but I can't foresee the market going back to where we were in October, just given what we're seeing week to week with these numbers. So in October, I thought it was like doom and gloom, and now it's like, oh wow, we are going back to a time when the market was very busy. So we'll see what happens. I will be back next Tuesday. Have a great week, everyone.